nearest town was Evansburg.
Okay, so see, you told me about Edinburgh because there was a street you told me you lived on.
It's a county seat.
Oh, it's a county
It's a
seat.
small town. It's a county seat.
Okay. But there was a street you told me that you lived on, and I actually found a picture of that street.
Milo.
Milo Hills, right?
Milo.
Or you lived in Milo Hills? It was something Hills. Didn't you tell me you lived in...
Hills?
Yeah, I thought you said Milo Hills or something. So Milo Road or Drive
Milo
was...
is where, when my grandfather died, my mother got money, and we had no money. My dad drank it all.
Oh, no.
So she took the money and bought this house.
Uh-huh.
It was a nice little house, and it was in Milo Park.
Milo Park, that's what it was.
Yeah,
okay.
and we lived there for about 10 years. And
So
then,
how old were you when you lived there?
probably 12 years old, maybe 10 years old.
And then where'd you
I
go?
lived there about till I was 18.
Oh, okay.
And then my grandfather, well, my aunt kept him in the wintertime, and we kept him in the summertime. He paid $1 a day rent.
Oh, my gosh.
And
Was that in the house in Milo Park?
Yeah.
Okay.
But my aunt got sick, so we had to take him all the time, and the house was too cold in the wintertime. So he had a house in Evansburg. So we moved, my mother sold the house that she had bought with her
and
dad's
moved in
money.
to the house in Edinburgh?
Hmm?
So then did y'all move into the house in Edinburgh that he had?
Evansburg, my grandfather's house.
Okay.
And then he lived there until he was 100. He died at 101.
Good heavens.
101.
Wow.
And he died, the last 6 months he went into a home. But up until then, my mother took care of him.
Wow.
In the last 3 years, he didn't come downstairs.
Because he couldn't, probably.
Yeah. He couldn't walk.
Wow. So what did you do? How old were you when you got married?
19.
Okay, so you lived in the house till you got married?
Well, we stayed in the house. When we got married, we stayed in that house.
Stayed there. Oh, okay.
Because there was a bedroom there.
Yeah, that's what people used to do. The whole family pile in together.
We didn't have any money to do anything else.
Yeah.
And so, we stayed at that house until we had the 2 kids. Ron and Marge were born.
Oh, they were born there?
They were not born in the house. They
right, but in
the
town, I did not realize that.
Yeah, and it was in coal mining town is where we lived close
Really?
by. So they were born in coal mining town.
Wow. In Edinburgh or another?
Evansburg.
Wow.
Well, the coal mining town was Culver.
Oh, okay.
And that was the name of a town. There was coal mining towns. One was Culver, one was Revlock.
Wow.
And they switched it around somehow. How did that name come?
So how old was your mom when she died?
84.
What did she die of?
She just died. A week. She just couldn't walk and just laid in bed. And she was with my sister then. My sister took care of her.
And what was your sister's name again? I forget.
Mary Kay.
Mary Kay. Okay.
And she was a nurse, so.
And you named Ronna. Ronna's middle name. You named Kay. So that's where the K came from.
Yes.
Okay.
And Ronna was after my brother Ronnie.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly I like that name.
What about Sandy?
Oh, I just like the name Sandy. She wasn't really named. Oh, Grace was my mother's name.
Oh, yeah. I remember you saying Grace was your mom's
Sandy
name.
was just, I like the name. It was a kind of a popular name then.
So your mom was Grace?
Mary Grace.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Mary Grace Roberts, and she married Jess Thomas. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, what about your grandparents? Did you ever know them?
My grandparents?
Uh-huh.
Well, no, my grandfather was the one that was 101.
Oh, that's right.
And I was a year old when our grandma...
And y'all were living with them?
Hmm?
Y'all lived with him?
Not... until my grandfather had to have somebody take care of him.
Okay.
And then we moved in his house to take care of him.
Okay, that's right. And he was the one that couldn't come down the stairs.
Right.
Okay. Now, what was his name? Do you remember?
Grandpa.
I don't know any of my... I know, Grandpa.
Joseph.
Was he Robert? Well, I guess he was Robert, so...
Thomas.
Thomas. You know I can't keep those two names straight.
His name was...
Roberts and Thomas.
His name was Joseph O. Thomas, and everybody called him Joseph O. That was his name.
What did the O stand for?
What?
What did the O stand for? Do you know what his middle name? Owen.
They were all Welsh, and so that was a
Welsh,
name.
really?
Yeah, my mother and dad were both full-blooded Welsh.
Did not know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Their parents were all Welsh.
So, how did they get to the United States?
My grandfather was born in the United States a year after they came.
Okay.
He had two brothers that were born in Wales.
Oh, wow.
When he was born in the United States. And my mother's family, they were born in the United States. But they came all about the same time. They all settled in the community, in a Welsh community in Evansburg, Pennsylvania.
Wow.
Is where that's where we lived after when we was going to school and everything. But we lived on the farm before they sold the farm and stuff.
And they did what? What is wrong? Wait, something's wrong with my phone. Okay. So you told me you lived on a farm.
I was born on a farm.
Okay. Wow.
When I was 3, I moved to my uncle's country home with no heat.
Oh. And where was that?
That was 3 miles from where, well, it was only a mile from where I was born.
Okay.
We moved into my uncle's country home.
Wow.
And it was, we lived there until I was 12, I think. 10 or 12. And that's when my mother got the money. And she went into town and bought this little house.
Oh my
in
God.
Milo Park.
And how did you say she got the money?
Her father died.
Oh, okay.
He was a successful farmer. So was my Joseph O. They were successful farmers.
What did they farm?
In the wintertime, they farmed potatoes and carrots and stuff where you couldn't buy them then in the stores.
Oh.
And they had trucks, and they would go to load up their trucks, and in the wintertime and peddle them through the town.
Oh, wow. And just sell as they went?
They would keep potatoes and carrots and cabbage.
And this was your grandfather?
Yeah, well, all of
and
the
your father.
farmers
Oh,
did
okay.
at that time.
So a few generations of
These
farmers.
were small farms in a Welsh community, and they would
Wow.
we would live close to coal mining towns,
Uh-huh.
and so they would go in and peddle their wares in the wintertime, or
Wow.
in the fall or the springtime, whenever it was scarce.
Why did they leave Wales, do you know, to come to the United States?
Poor. Wales was very poor.
I just wonder if was Wales part of the potato famine or not? I know that was Ireland, but I don't know.
I think Ireland, but probably Wales was probably in the same category, I would think.
Yeah, I wondered how people came over on ships from all these different countries. How did they get land? I mean, did they just go somewhere and claim the land as like the farm, or?
Yeah, I don't know if they bought them because it was an established community.
Mm-hmm.
So they probably bought the land from the established community, but it was cheap. And they came on wagons up over the mountains.
Wow.
Into Philadelphia they came.
Oh, into Philadelphia. Okay.
And then they took wagons and boats and go over the hills. That's where, of course, Philadelphia was slow.
Mm-hmm.
Half of Pennsylvania is low, but then they settled in the mountainous part of Pennsylvania.
Why, was that better farmland or something?
I don't know why they did. It
was good land. I guess
wasn't
if it,
settled.
Oh, okay. So
So
that
They
makes
just went and
sense,
claimed
yeah.
the land, I guess.
I think that's how a lot of people did.
Yeah. And it's because some of my mother's family, maybe my grandfather's family, went to central part of the United States and settled in Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
I remember going to visit them in Iowa.
And who settled there in Iowa?
My mother's, it was my mother's aunt. I don't know whether she married this man or I don't know whether he was from there or not, but it was her aunt. And her name was Aunt Grace, and my mother's name was Grace.
Oh, okay.
But I was probably 10 or 11, and we went in the summertime.
To visit them. Wow.
And went to visit them in Iowa.
That was a long way, wasn't it?
Well, then they also went to Ohio. So some of them stopped in Ohio, and then some went on to Iowa.
Oh, okay.
And they were all farmers.
Just as they settled in different places.
I remember visiting the ones that were in Iowa. They're real nice flat lands, and see, they were used to farming in the mountains. So this was nice farmland and nice farms. And
now, did they have any like livestock, cows or anything, or was
yeah.
it mostly just vegetables that they farmed? Or
no,
your family?
They had everything a farm would have. I don't remember seeing, but my mother's family, they had everything. They grew vegetables and they had animals. I think that's what they all did.
Wow. So do you remember living on the farm?
Well, I was only 3 when
Yeah.
we moved.
Oh, okay.
I remember of moving when I
Wow.
was 3.
Wow.
And it was only a mile and on a hay wagon.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember, it might have been a picture or something, but I
That you saw,
remember
yeah.
sitting on this wagon and
Oh my gosh.
transferred all the stuff from one house to the next
Oh wow. So you just moved it in the wagon.
in a wagon.
Wow.
And that was
That's
because
incredible.
my dad wouldn't keep up the farm. Well, my brother said he didn't like farming. He said he wasn't lazy, he just didn't like farming.
Oh, talking about your dad?
Uh-huh.
Oh. So what do you think?
I never thought about it.
Until he
I
said
was
that.
only 3.
Yeah,
and
that's
I never
true.
thought about it. But I knew that we went into town when my mother's father died and she got money.
So I wonder how he had money.
Yeah, he had money.
He had a successful farm. He's the one that had the success.
saved all the money.
Wow.
He had the first nickel.
The first what?
The first nickel he ever had.
Did he
They were
really?
all-
I wonder what happened to
They
it.
were all tight. Well, Welsh were tight.
Oh,
But
really?
they had to be, they came
Yeah.
to the farm and they had to watch their money.
Wow.
I don't remember
And where was you don't what?
I don't remember my grandmother because I was a year old when she died.
Mm-hmm.
But my grandfather's one lived to be 101.
Yeah. Wow. And that was Joseph
Yeah, Joseph.
Joseph Owens, right?
Joseph O.
Aha, Joseph O. And the O was for Owen.
Yeah,
And the last name I guess was
Thomas.
I was gonna say Roberts again.
No, my mother was
Wow.
Roberts. My dad was Thomas.
Do you have any old pictures and stuff like that of them?
Sandy
And all?
has them.
Oh,
Well, I'm not sure who has them. I don't have them.
I'll have to ask her if she has some. I'd love to just see some of the old pictures, and you could tell
I
me.
had them, so she probably took them. Because Marge didn't want any of that stuff. So, but where Sandy would put them, I don't know.
Yeah, go to her house and try to find them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to see some of them. You point some of these people out. I love looking at old family pictures and pictures of people.
Well, Billy had some too. He was interested in that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't remember of him taking very much or keeping very much.
Yeah.
He wanted a history, and I know he.
Well, good. So is he keeping up with the history and everything
Yeah, he was interested in history. And I would have thought Margie would have been. Sandy wasn't interested in the history.
I am so interested in the history of my family.
Yeah, I was too.
My cousins and I had a reunion last year. We hadn't seen each other in years, and we all met up and we rented a house. It's my father's side of the family, and we all brought pictures that we had, and one of them had the family Bible and brought that, so we could take pictures and everything. It was so interesting.
We have a Welsh Bible.
Huh?
We have a Welsh Bible.
Where is it? Who ended up with it, do you know?
Oh, Billy had, I'm not sure, it could be I don't think Billy has it anymore. It could be my brother's kids. I don't know if any, I don't think they were interested in history though. But they would have been the oldest.
Well, sometimes people just end up with it. Like what we didn't know. I always wondered where our family Bible was, and I didn't even know one of my cousins had it until he, brought it. So I was so pleased that it was still in the family.
Well, Billy was a little interested, and he got some of the stuff. Anybody that wanted it could get it.
Yeah.
Some of them weren't interested in it. And at that time, Billy was interested, and I don't think he is much anymore, but
yeah,
he saved some of the history.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my grandparents were from Ireland on my dad's side. But, all the records there, they had these big, massive fires there, and a lot of the records got destroyed. But my sister went over there and found the church. It was all fallen down, but found the church where my grandparents got married. So, it's probably the only thing. Because, see, I didn't have grandparents. I mean, they were all dead before I was born. So I never had a grandparent to call a grandparent.
Mine were all dead. My mother was pregnant, so she always said I was there. But I was the youngest child of that generation.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And she was pregnant with me whenever my grandparents had a reunion, and that was the last get-together they had.
Uh-huh.
So they were older. This last one that just died a couple months ago, she was my father's side of it, and she was doing, her and I were the only ones left, but she was 104.
Goodness. Now, did she have children?
She had one daughter, and she lives in Johnstown.
Is that in Pennsylvania?
Yeah, and I had talked to her when her mother died. I had never talked to her before that.
Oh, wow.
And, well, she was younger, much younger than me. So I did talk to her when her mother died.
Mm-hmm.
So she's still living, the only one. Her and I are the only ones in the family.
Wow. What was her name? Do you remember? I don't remember all my cousins' names.
Her last name would have been, her maiden name would have been Thomas.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember who she married. Dawn was Beebus. Her name would have been Beebus.
Okay. And what was her first name? And this was your cousin?
Yeah. I'm trying to think what. Donna.
I'm weary. I don't know why I'm asking y'all.
Her name was Donna.
Donna.
My cousin was Dorothy. Her mother would have been Dorothy, the one that would have been 104. So she would have been.
And she was a Roberts. Thomas.
Thomas
too.
It's the Thomases that live to be long.
Okay.
Oh,
yeah, they do.
The Robertses didn't live. They lived in their 80s, but they didn't live in.
But you know what? That's for back then, for that generation. That's pretty old.
Yeah. Well, they were farmers and they were healthy,
Yeah, I guess so.
So I would think that when they were in different line of work, it would have been different.
Yeah, they must not have had any illnesses.
There was lumber companies then. That was one of the, and then it got to be miners.
Yeah.
In the very beginning, there was no coal mines.
Mm-hmm.
Then, when I was young, it was coal mines.
Mm-hmm. So it was farmers in the other generation, and then with your generation, it was coal mining.
Mm-hmm. Nobody can make a living farming now.
Mm-hmm. I know. I was married to a farmer. So it was rough.
What did he grow?
Oh Lord, he farmed about 1,000 acres, 600 acres of corn, a couple hundred acres of soybeans, peanuts, and when he and I got married, they farmed tobacco too. But then over the years, they quit growing crops for sale, and we had a couple of thousand hogs. So he just, you know, he farmed all the corn and all that to feed the hogs. So, and then we had cattle when we first got married, like 100 head of cattle, but they quit doing cattle. So pretty much by the time he quit farming, it was all hogs and
With my
corn,
dad, it
soybeans,
was
and rye, winter
corn,
rye.
potatoes, and cabbage.
Mm-hmm.
And then they put them in a trail, in a, what do I want to say?
Yeah, what'd you call it? You already told me. What
Greenhouse.
was it called?
Like a cave.
Oh,
It was a
really?
cave.
To keep them fresh.
To keep them from freezing.
Oh.
And they had a hole on the top of the cave. And
And then
yeah,
they just go
yeah.
down and get them?
Yeah.
Now, is this after they were picked?
Yeah.
After they'd been harvested?
Yeah, and my dad and mother, I guess one of them, had my sister down in the cave. They were getting the potatoes and stuff, and they had a pipe up at the top to elevate to keep from freezing or something. And Ronnie was at the top of the cave where the pipe was, and he threw a stone down and threw the pipe and hit Cammy on the head.
Oh, no. God.
He waited till she was standing right under that pipe.
So he knew.
Yeah.
He did it on purpose. Oh, my goodness, that's funny. Wow. You don't think about, because there wasn't refrigeration much on farms anyway, because I know where we farmed, my husband's grandparents, I mean, people in town had electricity, but they didn't have, because I remember them talking about how they buried stuff and where they put eggs and everything from the chickens because they didn't have refrigeration. So.
Yeah, let's see, they had refrigeration, ice. The Iceman delivered ice.
Exactly, yeah. Yep.
Not with my family, but in the Johnstown and in the cities. I can remember the Iceman bringing ice.
I can remember the milkman bringing milk in those bottles.
I remember that.
Yep, I do remember that when I was young. Amazing. Well, listen, lady, I've been here an hour and a half. I guess I better go home.
It's been very interesting, and I love to talk.
Yeah.